I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is a request for Andrew Patterson. Thank you so much for that. And it is for Crossing the Bridge. Now, if anyone wants to request pretty much any type of video, review, movie topic, or pretty much anything, reaction, you just send the request either directly to my PayPal or join me on my Patreon. I will get to it as soon as I can. Thank you so much to people who have done that. I appreciate it. But Crossing the Bridge, this is a film that I looked at the title and I looked at the synopsis, and I guess I thought it was going to be one type of movie, and it turned out to be a different one. So I was like a little bit slightly disappointed, but at the same time, I do think it's a fairly decent flick for what it's trying to do. Now, what's interesting about this film is the director, Mike Binder, B-I-N-D-E-R. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. His filmography is pretty different, as in, you watch this film, or even the trailer to this film, and then he would do Indian Summer, and then he would do Blank Man with Damon Wayans, and then he would go on to do Reign Over Me with Adam Sandler. So it's strange, like the director of Blank Man is the same director as this and Reign Over Me. I literally had to do like a double and triple take. I'm like, is this the same guy or is this another guy with the same name? But no, it is the same guy. And yeah, this is very different from, say, Blank Man. Now, the story, you have these three friends. It takes place in the 70s. You have Josh Charles, who I recognize. He was in this film called Crossworlds, which I think I reviewed, because it had Rutger Hauer, and I think I did that once Rutger Hauer sadly passed away. And he's pretty decent. He plays our main character. He's a guy who wants to be a writer. He doesn't know what he wants to do with his life, so he's a bit unsure of where he's going. He's kind of more of the quiet, more of the, I don't want to say more of the innocent, but I guess between the three friends he is. Now, Josh Charles, he's probably most famous for roles like Dead Poet Society. He was in that. He was also in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Yeah, those are probably the ones. Oh, I forgot he was in SWAT from 2003. I forgot that. That's true. That's right. Anyway, the other two people, you have Jason Gedrick. This is the guy who is the star of Iron Eagle, which I enjoy. Why the fuck is that film not on Blu-ray? I don't understand this. That's a film that was successful enough to get like 3 or 4 sequels. Why the hell don't the first one have a Blu-ray? Oh, there's an HD version you can watch on fucking line. But nope, we don't care about a Blu-ray of it. The fucking Hellraiser 8 or Leprechaun 5 or whatever the fuck on Blu-ray, but not Iron Eagle. Anyway, the third person is Stephen Baldwin. And Jason Gedrick's character, he's more of the hothead. He likes to pick a fight. He's the type of guy, if you go up to hug him, he's like, what you doing? I'll break both your arms. So he's got a chip on his shoulder. Stephen Baldwin, sort of the... I almost want to say he's the popular guy. Like, he would be the guy in school that would be the popular guy, the jock. And I thought all three did fairly good. They worked well together. Now, when I read the synopsis on Wikipedia, it talks about, and this does happen, but at the very end of the film, where it states as if the entire film is about, or at least a good chunk is, they got to cross from point A to point B, from Canada to the U.S. as a part of this drug smuggling in order to get this big payday. I don't know, I guess I thought the film was going to be a lot more about that. I mean, granted, a little bit of it is, and the finale is, but I don't know, I guess this is more of a coming-of-age movie. This is more of these characters kind of just trying to figure themselves out in life, figure them out what they're going to do with the rest of their life. Either they're at a dinner with these other guys who are doing successful, and Josh Charles comes up and says, okay, but let me ask you something. How many of you are at a job that you actually like, that you dreamt of as a kid? You know, how many will do for a living what you wanted to do as a child? And that shut him up real quick. And the directing is fairly adequate. There's nothing remarkable, whether camera work wise, cinematography wise. It was all right. I would say again, what made it work for me was the cast. I thought the cast did a good job. David Schwimmer has an early role in this. Well, I don't know if I say early, but he has a small role as a guy that wants them to get his hash out of it, but then later on they find out it's not hash, it's heroin, which makes it a lot more dangerous because the penalty is much more severe. Also, I'm trying to remember the guy's name. I know I recognize him. Jeffrey Tambor, he's been in a lot of stuff. He plays Josh Charles' uncle in the film. He's most famous for Arrested Development, The Larry Sanders Show. Richard Edson, that's the guy I'm thinking of. Richard Edson, he was partnered up with Fisher Stevens in the Super Mario Brothers live action movie. He was in Platoon. He was in Howard the Duck. He was in, yes, Jury Duty, which I reviewed. Frightened Fish, which I reviewed. But I would say I honestly remember him the most from, believe it or not, Super Mario Bros. The movie. Because he played Spike. That's the character. Team Koopa's cousin Spike in that movie. And then I think Fisher Stevens was Iggy. I know it doesn't seem like I have a lot of excitement because it's a film that, again, it's not what I expected. But like I said, it does have a theme, an actual story to tell. Because while it does seem like maybe it's just wandering, trying to find a story, it is this sort of, I don't want to say slow realization, but just, again, so maybe that is what I'm saying, what you're going to do with the rest of your life. And characters do change. You know, Josh Charles does get to be a little bit tougher, a little bit of that putting 2 feet hard as hell on the ground and saying, I'm going to stand up for myself. Jason Gedrick's character does get humbled a bit. And you see like him and Josh Charles' friendship grows a little bit more because of that. There's definitely some quirky things, which I'll get into with spoilers, that made it, okay, it's kind of curious what was going to happen next. There's some nice little subtle hints of humor. I wouldn't call this a comedy, but there was moments that made me smirk or maybe chuckle. The ending was rather sweet for what it was trying to be. It wasn't downbeat. It wasn't out of blue. Oh my god, where the fuck did that come from? Because some movies try to pull that because they think they'll make it more of a statement. Like I said, overall I liked it decent because I liked the three actors. I thought they did a good job. It was interesting to see Jason Gedrick because I honestly have not seen him in a lot of roles other than Iron Eagle. So it was cool to see him there. Stephen Baldwin wasn't that bad. He really wasn't that bad in this film. Josh Charles, I don't really see him as a lead. But for the part he was playing, he worked out fine. I actually would have been interested to see David Schwimmer in that part since he was in the film. People say, oh, what are you talking about? Well, I don't know. David Schwimmer, I think, would have been a bit more interesting. I guess in a way it would have been sort of his character that he would play in Friends, at least a little bit of it. But getting more into spoilers, moments I enjoyed, the three of them among other friends playing this thing called Mud Bowl, just football in the mud. And one of them doesn't want to play, and they're like, okay, and they just pick them up right out of the bed and they're just chanting, Mud Bowl, Mud Bowl. What the fuck? What are you guys doing? Let me go. And like I said, there were moments that I was surprised by, which was nice. Again, spoiler alert. Like this one moment where Stephen Baldwin tells the others, oh yeah, we're taking hash. What do you think I left? And they go through it. It's this tense sequence, and then when they get by, Stephen Baldwin goes, I was just messing. There was no hash in there. I was testing you. Look, you failed. And I didn't see that coming. I figured, okay, this is... think it's going to go one way. Oh, this is their first taste. They're succeeded. Now they want to taste for more. Corruption. But it did. It didn't go that route. Maybe people would deem that a bit too obvious, a bit too derivative a route. So on that front, it was rather refreshing. Like I said, there's nice subtle bits of humor. When the guy goes out to see his girl, one of them goes, come on, we're going to be late for our first big drug deal. Hurry up. Or when they find out it's going to be heroin, and they're like, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to, that's even way too big of a threat. Because if you get caught with hash, maybe be a slap on the wrist. With heroin, you could get like 50 years or so. Pretty much they're forcing him to do it, and Jason Gedrick's talking shit, and pretty much Spike from Super Mario goes, I'm going to shoot your toe off. But Josh Charles was able to talk him out. You know what he needs? He needs to get the shit kicked out of him. That's when he'll learn. And it's true. That is what happens. And again, something I thought was refreshing is, okay, they're going to go with this piss poor writing where Jason Gedrick's going to be pissed at him, even though he did save his life, because you fucking said you shouldn't have done anything. You shouldn't have stepped in. I could have handled it myself. You told him to beat my ass, even though your toe was saved. No. They go the other way, which was the more refreshing way of, oh, thanks, man. I owe you one. And from then on, he's a lot nicer than Josh Charles. So yeah, I thought that was a nice bit of development. Or when Jason Gedrick's having this serious moment where he's pontificating while looking out what direction he wants to go in his life, and he throws away his jacket. And then Stephen Baldwin looks in the car and it's like, you jerk, that was my jacket you threw away. And then Jason Gedrick's look on his face is like, see, at least this is a nice little humanizing movie. And again, spoiler alert, the ending of the film, I'll give it away, just I feel like it, because I like talking about chunks of the film. and my thoughts on it. What happens is they do, which again, for some reason I thought like either the second half of the film or it would be multiple drug runs and multiple things. Again, based on the cover, based on the synopsis, this is not quite the film I expected it to be, but again, not a bad film. I know I repeat myself, but I just always have a bad habit of doing that. And pretty much the characters kind of helping each other realize this is a dumb idea. And yeah, I think in another movie it would have been, okay, one of them's going to do it and they don't get shot, or they don't do the time, or show that crime doesn't pay. No, ultimately they all do get out, and they left it. They don't have the money. I mean, they don't have the drugs to get the money, but it's just one of those, they're gonna, I guess sort of, they've grown from this experience. Oh, I was talking about quirky things. One quirky thing is earlier on, Josh Charles has this older gentleman who's a friend of his uncle come over saying, hey, why do you want to be a writer? And say, hey, come on, do you have passion about it? And he's getting excited. And the guy who's like this professor or teacher or writer himself, he gets a fucking heart attack and dies. I did not see that coming. That's what I mean. So there's certain little curveballs it throws that made the film a bit interesting than the norm. And I do at least appreciate that. So again, while initially I was a little bit disappointed because of they just going to be one movie, it was another. Overall, hard to believe this is from the same director of Blank Man. Just two very different things. I do like Reign Over Me with Adam Sandler. I reviewed that when I did my little Adam Sandler marathon of reviews. So, nice to see an earlier film from the director. And this might have been his first film. I could be wrong. It might have been not a bad directorial debut if that's the case. Not too bad at all. So, with that said, worth a look for those if you're interested in the actors or just a pretty decent screenplay. So thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.